Hey listeners, this is your host Dom. Welcome to the Logos Project. In this episode of Banter on Culture, Sam and I review Denis Villeneuve's movie Dune. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to the Logos Project. My name is Dom.
No. We gotta skip the intro. It's been like 3 weeks. We gotta get this show on the road. It's also like 9 o'clock, and I'm currently drinking a Rockstar. But it's the new flavor. Have you tried this yet?
Yes, you showed me.
It's so good.
It actually is, yeah.
Yo, I can't wait till they sponsor us in this podcast.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Look,
so I mention them every time I sit down.
When we get sponsors, Sam, I'm telling you right now, unfortunately, it's not going to be energy drinks.
You know how like Pints with Aquinas has like that theme where you
drinking
like theology
something.
and drinking. Yeah, it should be like Rockstar with the undergrad or something. I guess it won't always be that way. Huh?
Yeah. So, what did you say we're talking about today?
Dude. So, dude. I read the book because you told me to, because the movie was coming out.
Yes.
And I just want to say, growing up as a youngin in Missouri, I didn't read any books. So I missed out on the whole Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter thing. As far as like going into the movies, having read the books.
Yeah.
This is the first time doing that.
Yeah.
But not counting Ender's Game, but that was whack.
Yeah.
I thought the book was really good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
I heard it's very good. I've
the
never
movie
read it.
I just didn't do it justice.
Gotcha. I'm sure like it had some Dune influence as well. Ender's Game, huh?
Oh, I feel like Dune, because I was reading the book, I was like, this has a lot of, well, obviously like political implications, but it's like, it seems like I see elements of Dune since it happened so long ago.
Yeah, late 60s, yeah.
Yeah, in all like famous sci-fi everything.
Yeah.
Especially Star Wars.
Oh, we're about to get into that too, yeah.
But
Okay, so what is Dune, right? So people might be wondering, wait, Dom, I thought this was a podcast on theology and philosophy, history and culture. That's right, history and culture.
You're correct.
So Bishop Barron once said something that stuck with me ever since. He said that we live in a post-Christian world, as opposed to a post-something else world. He didn't say it this way, right? I'm rephrasing it. Which means that in our culture, right, we've forgotten God, but because it's a post-Christian culture, there's pieces of God left and right, kind of scattered across the culture. And our job is to, and here he uses a pun, remember God in the sense of recalling, but also in the sense of remembering the pieces, putting them back together.
I was hoping you were going to make a Dune pun, so you're going to need to squeeze a Dune pun in later.
We'll have to
so
find
that
it.
I feel satiated.
So, where's God in Dune, right? Well, I mean, honestly, like...
Spoiler alert.
So, okay, should we read the book before we see the movie?
Dude, I think so. I hate to be that guy. I feel really pompous saying that. Like,
yeah.
Well, I read the book first, and I think the movie was really true to the book. No, so with that being said, I think the movie was really true to the book. I think they did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
B, I think reading the book first is going to fill in a lot of the blanks and kind of provide a lot more of what's going on inside these characters' heads. There's things that you'll notice in the acting and how well they nailed specific scenes.
Yes.
Because you understand more of what's going on in their head. So it's like, I don't want to be like, oh, the director couldn't portray these specific things, because honestly, he nailed it.
Yeah.
But they're not things that you would pick up on unless you had kind of that background knowledge. And then B, absolute cinematic masterpiece. It was fantastic.
Am I right?
They did such a good job. Granted, we saw it in IMAX, which was
twice
a
for
blast.
me.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been to IMAX, actually.
Yeah, same.
Probably the last time with you. I think we saw one of the Avengers movies or something.
It wasn't IMAX. You were talking about the big digital. That's a little different.
Couldn't tell you the difference.
Yeah.
IMAX maybe that's where I messed up. It was years ago though. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think the last time I went to IMAX was 2008.
Oh, Lord.
And it was not a very good movie. What was it? It was Keanu Reeves, which you'd think it'd be a good movie if he has Keanu in it.
Keanu.
It was like The Day the Earth Stood Still or something. Yeah, not the greatest movie.
Well, speaking of Keanu Reeves, can we talk about the previews real quick?
Previews
for Dune.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Talk
Well,
about
how do you feel about the what's that new Marvel movie coming out? Yeah, you just made a
Marvel?
frowny face. Yeah, is it not Marvel? The Essentials or whatever?
Eternals.
Eternals, yeah.
I've heard very bad things. I have not seen it. So
I've heard bad things.
I'm not gonna trash it.
Well, they're taking over the IMAX, so
I saw that and I was so annoyed because I want to go see Dune again in IMAX for the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th time. But they took it over. Now, so I have not seen it, so I can't trash talk it.
I don't want to hear you complaining about books for next semester.
But yeah, so I can't really talk bad about it, but I have heard bad things about it. Well, let's just leave it at that.
Fair enough.
But Keanu's not in that trailer.
No, but he was in. There's a new Matrix coming out.
Yes.
We should do an episode on Matrix.
Yes. So just so the audience knows, the first Matrix, phenomenal. Second and third, like, they complete a really cool story, but they're not as good as the first.
I haven't seen the second or the third.
Yeah, that's bad. But so there's a fourth one coming out, and I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. It looks like it's gonna be terrible.
Bro, it's Keanu.
But yeah, it's Keanu.
It's Keanu.
Yeah. Anyway, so okay.
Also, a new Batman movie. All right, I'll stop.
All right, no more trailers. These are
first of all, yeah,
trailers to the episode. So here's the thing: how does the movie start?
Trailers.
We covered that, Sam.
Oh yeah.
What do you remember? The first thing that happens before the Warner Brothers logo?
Zendaya.
No, before that. We need to go see it again.
Yeah, I guess so.
It starts off with Sardaukar language, and it goes dom or something like that, right?
Oh, some Tibetan throat singing.
Yeah, but
versus
really cool
Gregorian
sound effect.
Yeah, Gregorian throat singing.
The whole movie starts off with the quote, "Dreams are shadows from the deep," but that undergirds the themes of the entire movie. Because dreams are super important for this movie. Anyway, so yes, you should read the book. So you do not have to read the book. It's not that complex. If you've seen Inception, you'll be fine, right? And I'm not going to bring up Tenet, okay?
Fair enough.
So you do not have to read the book, but maybe watch like a introductory video.
You might even. So the book is 3 parts, right? And I think.
Yeah.
So where the second part cuts off. Yeah, yes. You don't even have to read the whole first book.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really like where they ended the movie, more or less. So we'll get there.
I do. I've heard criticisms about that, right? But I do, based on the knowledge of the entire book.
Nah, man. I don't know. It's hard.
The movie ends at part 2. Between part 2 and part 3 of the book, there's a time gap of 2 years. Right? The movie ends before that time gap. Therefore, part 2 will begin after those 2 years. So to me, it's the perfect place to stop.
That's a good point. Well, no, because there's like a little more that happens before that kicks off.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, because Okay, let's get into the plot. Like this will make sense to the audience, right? So, a little bit about the director, Denis Villeneuve, right? He's basically a French-Canadian director who made kind of indie movies. One of them was called Incendie. I can't remember. There's like a couple that he made that I have not seen. But the moment he got noticed was when he made this movie called Enemy with Jake Gyllenhaal in it. It's very artsy, indie type movie, but extremely nice cinematography. And a very strange movie, though, but very pleasing to
Jake
the eye.
Gyllenhaal does some weird stuff sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen much with him. Oh, I saw Nightcrawler.
I kind of like that, but it was weird and artsy.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
Also, what about Donnie Darko? You seen that one?
That was good, but that was weird.
Well, the first time I watched it, I had no idea what happened.
Yeah, I had to look.
Yeah, the second time. I think I saw it when I was a kid. I think that was the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty young.
Some movies you watch later when you're older and you're like, oh my goodness, this is great, but as a kid you can't really fully appreciate what's going on.
Yeah, also it was I probably shouldn't have been watching that as a kid, I don't think.
Or are there some iffy stuff?
It was just really weird. It was a scary movie kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think there are a little bit of iffy parts in it. But anyway, so this is a good plug for VidAngel, a great software that you can use if you have children at home.
Yeah. They will also be sponsoring us someday.
Actually, so if I want certain companies to sponsor us, I have several in mind already.
Oh, okay.
And
is that one of them?
VidAngel is definitely one of them.
Nice.
So we'll have maybe an episode on the topic of nudity in art and what's okay and what's not, because that's a really interesting topic. It's not a very it's kind of a taboo topic, but it's a very interesting one that has implications for what we like to talk about on this
I
podcast.
think the nudity in Dune was very well used.
So there is no nudity in Dune. There is no sexuality. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So we'll get there. So yeah, don't worry. This is kid.
I meant that as a joke, but I did mean it as a serious point.
This is kid friendly to a certain extent because it is PG-13. It's very cinematically engrossing. Like it's definitely something that you wouldn't bring, maybe I would say, a 5-year-old to. They'd probably get scared, right? But when it comes to violence, it's PG-13, so there's no like spattering of blood or something like that. No sex, no nudity. And okay, and the themes. All right. Enough talking, Sam. Okay. Go see the movie. Now we're entering into the spoiler zone of this episode, part 2, which is the plot of the movie. Tell us about the plot, Sam.
Dude, so I started taking notes actually so the guy behind me probably thought I was texting. We had a good rapport though, because I smuggled in like a lifetime supply of candy.
Yeah.
And I turned around, I was like, dude, you want some candy? I brought a lot. He's like, nah, it's cool, dude. I got tacos. And he pulls a wad of tin foil out of his hoodie. I was like, this guy's my hero. Anyway, yeah, so I started taking notes throughout the movie. I was like, this is fantastic.
So we have swords, we have knives. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's basically like Game of Thrones in space.
So again, like a lot of this, I feel like predates a lot of the literature we find in modern culture. But anyway,
so the movie opens right where they're gaining this new assignment to get pushed to Dune, or like this desert planet,
Arrakis.
By the way, which I think is such a clever
name
ode to the Middle East. Anyway,
exactly.
Yeah. They're like, hey, sand's everywhere. As far as major themes at this point, they allude to, I don't think they say it specifically, but they allude to the fact that Paul, the main character, he wasn't supposed to have been born at this point, I guess, because Jessica, his mother, was told only to bear daughters.
Yeah.
And then he's also tested in a way that we'll talk about here shortly, because I really want to talk about that. Just
that scene
cinematically, that was such a fantastic scene. He's tested in a way where they're basically, I think they call him the One.
The Kisad Hadahak.
Yeah, but I don't speak Arabic. No, I'm just kidding.
The second family that's important is House Harkonnen. It's kind of like a darker, more sadistic version of Rome, right? And House Atreides, which is the house of the hero Paul, is kind of like a version of ancient Greece, right? Atreus. And so the main villain in this entire movie is the ruler of House Harkonnen, who's called basically Baron Vladimir Harkonnen. The Baron is this massively fat and like muscular at the same time, gigantic human being, right? And he's so fat and heavy that he doesn't walk. He uses these gravity shifters.
I think of like Baby Yoda in that little cradle thing.
Yeah, kind of. But exactly.
He just kind of floats around.
So the Baron, he's got these gravity shifting belts on, whatever. It goes up his back. It's really gross. Speaking of nudity, we don't see any explicit nudity, but we see him naked in the beginning of the movie, and it's honestly terrifying. I thought it was just like it's a way to establish like the enormity and the pure evil of this man. Like he's just like taking up the entire screen and just like malice incarnate. There's something about it that's really, really well done. And we'll get into the Star Wars connections. So Lady Jessica is Paul's mother. She's the mistress of the Duke and Duke Leto, right, from House Atreides. He doesn't marry Lady Jessica because of the potential for, marrying someone from a different royal house. Now, obviously, as Catholics, right, we know that, that's not the way things go. But we're talking about science fiction.
Nice plug.
Yeah. But the point is that Lady Jessica is part of an order of somewhat witch nuns, right?
That's a good way to put it, because there's like the way they dress them in the movie
Yes.
is just like clear ode to
nuns.
Yeah, to nuns,
to medieval nuns or something. Yeah.
I was trying to think of a more eloquent word, but yeah, it's nuns.
Yeah. And so the nuns are called beneficiaries, which is actually Latin for those who gestate well, which goes back to the fact that she was supposed to have daughters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this gets into the entire plot of this order of nuns. They basically, as Paul said in the movie, they steer the politics of the imperium from the shadows. I love that line.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, that's exactly what's going on. Yeah,
it's exactly what's going on. And so what they're doing is they're trying
they're
to
like Facebook.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness. So what the Bene Gesserit are trying to do is they're trying to bring about a kind of perfectly evolved human being who can usher in a new era. So this reminds me a lot of Augustus and the Pax Romana during the time of Christ, but that's a different tangent. But they're trying to interbreed these houses and bring about the perfect combination of genes. And this takes centuries, so they're very patient order, right? The director finds a way, and he doesn't overburden the audience, but he gives you all the information you need. He doesn't give you all the information because it's a movie, but he gives you all the information you need. It's incredible. He does such a good job. So let's transition into talking more about our experience of the movie and even of the book.
So the first, I actually wrote down a quote, but it looks like it's
What?
It looks like it autocorrected, and I'm not really sure why. It sounds so weird. But he said, a great man doesn't, I think it's need to lead. He answers the call to lead.
No, it's a great man doesn't seek to lead.
Seek. Okay, I have
Yeah.
seem. I was like, that is not correct.
Yeah,
So a great man doesn't seek to lead. He answers.
Yeah, that's what the Duke says to his son. Yeah. That is such a great quote. Honestly, it comes from Christianity. That's something that they would say about bishops. They would only ordain bishops who didn't want to be ordained.
Imagine if we chose president like that. I think we'd be in a lot better
We'd be in a lot better place, yes.
The next one I want to talk about is the box. So first of all, from a cinematic aspect,
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job of making this box look mysterious and ancient.
Yeah.
It's like this terrible thing is like living inside there almost, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, and then it's also like, what does this box like represent? I think it's kind of like that chaotic unknown that you have to like conquer.
Enter into, yeah.
Yeah, before right. So there's what was it, like the Knights of the Round Table or whatever, right? Where they're looking for the Holy
sword?
Grail.
Oh, the Holy Grail? Okay.
Yeah, and so they like walk out and they peer into the forest, right? And they all go to which part of the forest they feel is the darkest.
Oh.
So the idea is like, I'm gonna go head first in
Yeah.
conquering what it is
Yeah.
that needs to be conquered,
Yeah.
right? You know, Jordan Peterson talks about it all the time, where he's
Yeah.
like, you gotta kill the dragon. Like, I wish I could do a Jordan Peterson impersonation,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
you gotta conquer the dragon.
I'll get my other
But I
friend
think
to
that's
come back on the
fantastic,
show.
right? So it's like something changes in him, and you can see it in his face, right? He's in pain, and then boom, he snaps. Where it's like he's conquered the pain, and he's like overcome it. That's like his entrance into manhood, I feel
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
And the way that whole scene was just put together was fantastic.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, okay, first of all, the set. The set was just beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're just huge fans of the movie.
They knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, so the director basically was filming a childhood dream, right? And you can tell. It shows on the screen. So one thing about that scene was interesting is that the fact that you couldn't see the face of the Reverend Mother. It was
How good was
veiled.
that? But you could see her eyes.
Yeah, but she's like a super famous actor, and he wanted to show her face, but he realized for artistic reasons, if I leave the veil on, it works better.
Mm-hmm.
And that shows you how he prioritizes creativity over fame or something else, right?
Yeah.
Like, she's a phenomenal actor, and we don't see her face. It's just incredible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so another thing is that the relationship between Lady Jessica and Paul is really interesting. You can tell that she loves her son, but at the same time, like, she's plotting with the Bene Gesserits.
You know what I was thinking of?
What?
Abraham and Isaac. How good is
Oh,
that, right?
yeah.
Where she's like, basically
She's
she
offering
hopes that
him
something
up.
else happens, but like
Yeah,
she knows chances are
he might
like
die.
I feel like she was probably leaning toward he was probably going to die, like
I
right
would
because
say
she was like
no. Yeah,
way ahead of timeline as far as like implementing all these plans and
that's
like
true.
it was
That's
a
true.
blatant disobedience
Yeah,
to the order to
yeah,
even have a son,
yeah, yeah.
right? And
By the
I don't
way,
know.
the fact that
And
you
she
could.
was clearly nervous.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yes. But like, here's the thing: like, she can't decide whether to have a son or a daughter. She just had a child. It's like, no, actually,
Wrong. She's Benny Gesserit.
yeah, the Bene Gesserit can control whether they have a daughter or a son, which is just incredible.
You also see, I just want to point out real quick with the parallels to Abraham and Isaac.
Yeah.
I feel like you see their relationship kind of change. Like you don't get a lot of their relationship prior to that, but you see kind of like
There's a shift.
it's more apparent in the book, I feel like, but it becomes more of like a shift in like the power hierarchy as far as like her ordering him around. It's more so he's become like he's become a man. So
Yeah.
and I mean very soon after that he literally becomes the leader of the family. So there's more of a burden of responsibility at that point too.
Yeah.
Maybe that ties into it, but
Yeah, I mean, I think he's resentful of her, like throughout the entire story.
well, how do you think Isaac felt about the Abraham thing? I'm serious.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about that the other day. I was listening to Bible in a Year, but not the one with Mike Schmidt. It's a different one.
Oh, okay. How dare you?
It's more Protestant. I apologize. And yeah, he's like, Abraham and Isaac don't talk anymore. The rest of the Bible after that scene, and he's like, yeah, I kind of get it.
But it's worse with Paul. He realizes that his mother, the only reason why she had him, was because he's a product of a plan
Yeah,
that has nothing
it's mechanical
to do.
at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can tell there's a shift there, and it's really well done in the movie. I think it's much more detailed in the book, of course, but it's really well done in the movie.
Oh, another thing that I really liked is how, like, this is gonna sound dumb, I think, but the Reverend Mother, did she have a name? Because I don't remember.
Yeah, something Reverend Mother Gauhim. I can't remember.
First of all, how would you remember that anyway? It was like, if it was like
well,
Jeremy, I'm like, yeah, I remember that one. I didn't associate that with her face.
yeah.
Or some eyes. But yeah, the way she like held the needle, I thought was like very. It was like kind of powerful, but also like very feminine.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I thought that was a really nice touch.
Yeah.
Because there are these like, a very like martial tribe, martial culture.
Yeah.
But they're also all females.
Yeah.
So it's like
yeah.
I don't know the implementation of being.
Yeah.
I don't know, being
the
female
feminine
was cool.
undertones
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
entire movie are really, really interesting. And like, I don't really see it as feminist. There are certain movies where it's blatantly feminist and it's just annoying.
Well, I mean, it's hard to even tell what the definition of that word is anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately.
But because that will get into the decision that the director made about Dr. Liet Kynes, who's the ecologist for the Imperium, but also he's a Fremen, and he is in the book is a man, but in the movie it's a woman. Now, I think they should have kept him as a man. I don't know, but like I think I see why he changed it, and I don't think it's because of political correctness or feminism. I think he is trying to tap into something that the book does offer. The sandworms. So Shai Hulud, right? So here's the thing about the sandworms. I remember watching Star Wars, and well, actually, I thought of this the other day. It dawned on me. One of the scenes in the Return of the Jedi is when Boba Fett is with Jabba the Hutt, and there's Luke Skywalker tied up. Leia is basically a slave to Jabba the Hutt, and Han Solo's tied up as well. And they're trying to feed them to a worm in the desert, right? Who basically eats them alive. But the thing is, like, in the original Star Wars movies, that comes up again. Like, the Millennium Falcon at one point, I don't remember which movie it is, lands on a planet and they find out, oh my goodness, we're in the mouth of a worm.
Yeah.
And they have to escape, right? And it's a kind of a stark planet, kind of beige looking. There's no sand, but it's stark, It's kind of rocky as well. But also, even in the prequels, right? I think at one point, Anakin, he's with Padme, and they have C-3PO and R2-D2. They land in the mouth of a worm, and they enter into this same thing. It's a rocky planet. I think it might have been Tatooine. I don't remember. But obviously, the huge parallel is the planet Tatooine in A New Hope, where Luke lives, and it has 2 moons. I mean, Dune, right? Arrakis has 2 moons.
Mm-hmm.
So George Lucas explicitly says he's drawing from Dune.
I think the native people of Arrakis are a lot more depth character-wise.
Yeah, so that. So that's the other thing. The Sand People from Tatooine.
I was gonna say sand people, but I thought there was something more like profound.
But also the Jawas, the little ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you can see George Lucas is doing his own thing. But remember the spaceship that it rolls over the sand on Tatooine, and it belongs to the Jawas?
Mm-hmm.
The structure of that spaceship is the same as in the movie of the spaceships you see that are parked when Paul and Duke Leto and Lady Jessica arrive. You know, the bagpipes playing and everything.
Yeah.
It's the same structure.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, that had to all come from the director of Dune, though. So.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Yeah.
No. So I think there's actual descriptions of the ships, and I think you see them in the 80s movie. So I could be wrong about that, right? But I thought it wasn't just a decision from the director. I could be wrong about that.
That's fair.
But I think there's a reference. But anyway, the director admitted that in the movie he does reference several different other movies. And we'll get into Apocalypse Now, which is, if you have not seen that,
I have not seen
you
that.
need to change yourself.
Oh. Hashtag fix yourself.
So obviously, we see the origins of the Emperor's stormtroopers in Dune, right?
Nice.
The Sardaukar. Dude, talk about a sick name, right? Sardaukar. And when Jason Momoa, like Duncan, Idaho.
Dude, everything Jason Momoa does is going to be fantastic.
He yells out.
He looked a little weird without facial hair, though. That kind of
I thought he looked better.
What?
Yeah.
Take that back right now. I literally wrote, so I was taking notes during the movie, just quick things. So I wrote that quote, I wrote box, and then I wrote beard. Not even talking about Jason Momoa. I just wanted to talk about the Atreides, how fantastic
Duke Leto?
Leto's beard was.
Dude.
I think it was fantastic. Man, that's all I want to achieve. When I get out of the military, that's all I want to do is grow a beard.
That beard was authoritative.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
I want that when I grow up.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely. If you grow up. So, so the Sardaukar, right? And I love when Duncan Idaho is like, Sardaukar! And then, they turn around and he just, wipes them, one after another. Brings them down. Spoiler alert. He gets killed. Oh, another cool trivia.
I don't know how they can throw away such a good actor.
Yeah, faithfulness to the book, man.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't swap him with Idaho. I feel like he's a bigger.
Who?
Idaho.
They swapped Idaho with Idaho. I'm confused.
Oh, that's his name. You're right. I meant to say Gurney Halleck.
Oh,
swap the actors.
But that actor's phenomenal as well.
Yeah, he's good, but I feel like Jason Momoa is more of a buying feature.
That's true, but that's
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is just it's a passion project.
I don't care. Whatever they did, it worked.
Yeah, it's because he's focused on the casting. He's looking at the characters from the book and says which actor will best fit that description, right? And Gurney Halleck, right? Josh Brolin,
he did a good job.
It fits perfectly.
Oh, real quick,
yeah,
he didn't sing throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, so
that kills me.
So he kind of does when they walk out on the platform. He quotes from the Catholic Orange Bible, which is the name of the Bible that they use, and he says the quote and he sings it a little bit. So next time we'll go see it, right?
Well, after talking all this out, yeah, we definitely got to go see it again. So
of course.
What are you doing after this?
I mean, I'm seeing it on Sunday again. So I've seen.
Well, we actually have it on
times.
HBO Max, unfortunately.
I know.
I feel like that was such a bad call on their part.
Yeah, it was.
Were they trying to be health conscious? I ain't COVID.
They were trying, because they make money off of that too.
Yeah, but not as much.
No,
you need to delay it a little bit. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and also it was a gamble. The director was he wasn't guaranteed part 2. And by the way, this movie smashed box offices.
Seriously?
It did so well.
I didn't know how it was gonna do.
Yeah, it did very, very well. It surprised everyone.
That's good.
Millions and millions of dollars. Yeah, I think it's $50 million or something.
Well, good on them. That's awesome.
Yeah. And part of that money is mine.
Yeah, you got to support them. It's good.
Yeah. No, as in like I've seen it several times.
Yeah,
But
that's
anyway,
what I'm saying.
and I've paid for other people too, who paid me back, but not all of them. But but I'm okay with that.
But who's listening to this right now? That's pretty good.
Okay, so another thing is Paul's coming of age, right? I mean, Luke, right? You see the same.
Well, I mean,
themes.
you see that over and over again. That's not just a sci-fi thing by any means.
No, it's not. But but think about it though. Paul's coming of age is specifically intertwined with his coming, with his ability to use his powers, right? In a certain sense, where like and those powers are powers very similar to the Force. The only exception is the motion of objects apart that are far from you. That's the only exception. So the Force provides like insight into ancestry, right? It provides visions of the future. It provides the ability to command someone to do something with your voice, right? And so a lot of the powers that Paul has and that he develops and becomes better at, including the fighting, right? They all match with Luke's powers.
Well, how much does the spice have to play with his ability to
a lot.
execute?
Yeah.
I don't want to say execute those powers, but yeah, use them.
And that's another thing. The spice is also kind of a stand-in for the Force, but it's much more like, Middle Eastern oil and power politics and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not a one for one. But I mean, there's
Definitely not.
themes
You
there.
don't want a one for one anyway.
No.
Nobody does. That's
No. But obviously, the chosen one, right? The Kwisatz Haderach. Like,
yeah.
we see that in Star
Messiah.
Wars, right? The
Yeah.
Messiah, yeah. Okay, and Jabba the Hutt. I mean, I think
the
I
big
think-
fat guy that rules the desert planet,
right? That's got to be the Baron,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well, so actually, when Star Wars first came out, the first episode 4, Jabba the Hutt wasn't like this big monster thing. He was a fat guy.
Oh,
He
really?
was another fat guy. Yeah.
Oh, so they changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it seems to be even more
Remastered, my guy.
specific. Yeah. Okay, that nasty spider pet.
Did that happen this early in the movie?
Yeah, it's right after the.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Right after the box, right? Kind of, and that reminded me of Jabba the Hutt's pet. He has like this weird little animal pet.
Oh, maybe they did that on purpose too.
Maybe there's a theory out there. Wait, hear me out. There's a theory. So Dr. Yue, right? He says to the Duke after he shoots the dart in his back, he's trying to get his wife back, and he says they take her apart like a doll, right? That's the quote. So some people have speculated that spider is actually Dr. Yue's wife, Wana. Her name is Wana.
Oh, that makes me super uncomfortable.
It makes
Not gonna
me
lie.
super
Yeah,
uncomfortable.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and pretend you didn't say that.
Okay, well, should we cut that out of the episode?
Nah, you're fine.
Okay, yeah. So, but I mean, it kind of shows you the dark, sadistic, like aspect of the Baron. Like he's evil, pure evil,
literally. And it's like, I feel like kind of a theme throughout the movie is that people are, for lack of a better word, like bred into greatness, right? So it's like Paul is and you see it more in the part of the book that the movie doesn't cover, where it's like basically this idea of like a collective conscience that you're able to like tap into with your ancestors and everything. And the idea is like you're building on, or people are bred into greatness in the sense where it's like you're throughout the history of your familial lines are working on honing in these things, these traits, these we'll call them powers that make you great. And it's like very much with the Harkonnens, it's evil.
Yeah.
And the way that they have imposed their power on like this native people, and it just got more and more abusive and dark and destructive over time, to a point to where it was like the Emperor cut him off. It was like, this
that's
isn't
not
working.
why the Emperor
Yeah,
cut him
and that's
off.
true. Yeah, you're right.
Because the Emperor is a bad guy too. I mean, right? Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think the reason why the Emperor is making House Atreides go to Arrakis is because they've become a threat, right? I mean, you see this play out, especially at the end of the book. By the way, I'm going to argue that Paul becomes a bad person.
Yes. So we talked about this very briefly earlier.
Yeah, we'll have to
hit that
break
later.
it open.
We'll hit that later. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't think Paul is the hero.
I think he is.
Okay.
But it's nuanced.
Yes, it is. Sure. Okay. Yeah. So also, I think the Bene Gesserits, despite the fact that they're all women, they're a very good stand-in for the Jedi. Think about it. They're looking for the chosen one. They're steering the politics for a better world. Right?
That's a really good point. And they don't actually. They're not the ones that are.
They're in the shadows.
Power.
They don't
They're
like having this kind of power.
Yeah. They're the servants, more or less.
Exactly. Serving the greater good or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like that a lot. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thanks.
You have a list over there of like. Hey, respect.
Yeah. Also, if you noticed, we see this in Star Wars several times, and I think all three of the trilogies. There's moments when the heroes hear the voices of the Jedis that precede them.
Their ancestors, yeah.
Ancestors in the Force. Mm-hmm. And so you see this in the book when Jessica drinks the water of life. This is a book spoiler, right? She basically receives the memory of the Reverend Mother whose place she's taking, and also the memory of all the previous Reverend Mothers. So there's this kind of, like, she starts to experience the experiences of an entire generation.
Yeah, it's like a collective conscience that she's able to tap into.
There's a lot of like themes of almost like ants, right? There's this kind of ants-like organism type of like especially in the Harkonnens, they look like ants. They look like they live that the planet Gedi Prime, where the Baron is from, and the entire.
Bro, how did you remember that? What? Your mind works way different than mine.
I might have pronounced it wrong, but like where the Harkonnens live, it looks like a anthill. Did you notice that?
No, I did not notice that. That's fantastic, though. Good. Yeah, good. Dude, so, good eye.
So there's so much detail in this world, right? But I think let's list a few more things and then transition into what we think it means, the theology.
Because I did want to talk about. So first of all, the aircraft in the movie, I just thought were absolutely fantastic.
Oh man, the ornithopters.
Sure.
They look like dragonflies.
Yeah, dude.
The insect theme is all over the place. Have you noticed?
No, but I do now. That's fantastic. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
But so like when he that first the spice harvester or whatever, I'm sure there's a better name for it. I think there was spice harvester. Cool.
Yeah,
that's
harvester.
what I meant to say.
Yeah.
It's obviously was having that malfunction, and the Duke like ducks down to like go get do a little emergency extract.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
that was
I about lost my mind because you like see him kick the PCLs and like the wings like fold back and he just starts diving. Yeah, and I was like, that was the most motivating thing I've ever seen.
I remember you being ecstatic.
Yeah, I was souped. And it's like, I just want to point out that all their comms and stuff, as far as like aircraft stuff, was just fantastic too.
Really?
The way they were communicating
and
with
you
each
would know
other
this. So for the audience, should we tell them?
Yeah, I'm a pilot.
Sam's a pilot, so he would know this.
Now, as I said before, I'm trying to solicit dates on this podcast, so if anybody wants to hit me up. But yeah, I thought just the whole thing was fantastic.
Wait, this is perfect. Hold that thought. There's a line in the movie. I don't think it's in the book. I could be wrong. I don't think it's in the book, which makes it even better. Because speaking of pilots, right? There's a point where the Duke says to Paul, "Yeah, I didn't want to be Duke either. At one point, I wanted to be a pilot."
Yeah, I don't know if that was in the book either, but clearly that stuck out to me.
Guess what it's a reference to? Who's the actor?
I don't know. I've never seen him before.
He plays in Star Wars, the pilot.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, wait, what's his name?
Nah.
Yeah, wait, I gotta look it up now.
Well, I mean, everybody's a pilot in Star Wars, I feel like.
No, he's specifically a pilot in Star Wars. So Oscar Isaac plays Poe Dameron in Star Wars, who's a pilot. So isn't that crazy?
Well played. That's pretty clever. Yeah. No, I did not know that. So I mean, granted, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it's a nod to Star Wars. But okay, finally, just one last thing.
If he didn't have a beard, I'm not interested.
Yeah, right. He doesn't have a beard in that movie.
Oh man.
So.
Yeah. So I just looked it up. I know exactly. That's so clever. Yeah, I never noticed. I didn't know it was that guy. That's fantastic.
So another nod is Denis Villeneuve, I think, is nodding to Apocalypse Now, because there's a moment where the first time you see the Baron, he takes his hand and basically caresses the top of his head.
Dude, that's funny. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And goes down to his eyes and his nose, right?
Yeah.
And that's a reference to Apocalypse Now, the at the end of the movie. So the main character goes deeper and deeper into this kind of introspective journey, which is exactly what's happening to Paul, by the way. And there's also a lot of like the cinematography reminds you a lot of Lawrence of Arabia, the movie Lawrence of Arabia, which is another great movie you need to see. But Apocalypse Now, right? Like the more he enters into the landscape, the more introspective he becomes. But he meets with this guy who's basically lost it and who's just become crazy, right? And he's bald and he has that, that gesture. And so it's a callback to that movie, which is a phenomenal movie, by the way. And so he's calling back to these great works of cinema, right? And except for Star Wars, but the new Star Wars, but not the old one. The old one's great, but old ones. All right, so I think we're done. I think we're going to talk more about theology now, but that's all I had to say about those references.
Look, that's all I have to say about that.
So,
wait, what about the bull? I feel like the bull has the...
Yeah, so the bull is the one that kills Atreus, right? And so the House Atreides, spoiler alert, they all get murdered except for Paul, his mother, Lady Jessica, who escape thanks to Dr. Yue, who is a traitor but gets killed anyway, right? But also, so Duncan gets killed, Duncan Idaho by the Sardaukar, but Gurney Halleck doesn't die, right? We don't see what happens to him in the movie, but we'll see him in part 2. And Thufir Hawat, the Mentat, is basically going to end up advising the Baron, reluctantly, but sees it as like a way forward in life after the entire family that he served was murdered, basically, right? And so, but I think the book describes that vengeance is like motivating him to eventually destroy House Harkonnen, and the Baron knows that. But so they're basically using each other kind of politically or whatever. With advice and stuff. It's pretty intricate. So do you want to get into like what do we think is going on theologically, politically, philosophically? Like what do you think the point of this story is?
Do you mean like what is the author trying to do overall?
What is he trying to tell
like what
us?
is he trying to... So I have a couple ways I feel like we could take this, right?
Okay.
One of these is like the dangers of ideology a little bit. I think it's a commentary on global warming.
I think so too.
Global warming?
Yeah.
Wait, seriously?
Okay,
I was just kidding.
So I'm not even not global warming per se, but ecological injustice, right?
Well, actually, I mean, given my understanding of the Dune lore, that kind of vibes, right? So the idea is they're like trading the landscape of this entire planet to be able to produce spice. And so it was like,
That's
hey,
exactly
what does
right.
that look like as far as mining or,
Yeah.
the lack of EPA
Yeah.
regulations and all this other stuff.
So to make it theological, right? Whether global warming, divides so many people, and I'm not interested in like annoying the audience. I guess like we can make episodes to annoy them, right? But this one's more broad. So I guess what I would say is that it shows that there's a real disrespect for the gift of creation, right? And it's in the name of power, greed, and manipulation, right? And that's it. Did you agree with me on that?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you said a disrespect for creation?
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. I think I need you to elaborate on that a little bit. Is the idea like we're trading what has been created for...
No, they're harming a planet for the sake of power and greed, right?
Yeah.
And the people
right.
of that
I'm
planet.
trying to disagree with you just because,
No,
but
yeah.
you're right.
No, I'm not saying this is the political stuff. Let's just drop it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the theme of the book seems to be that if we use creation, right, for means that are a violation of creation, then he's commenting on the fact that we do that for the sake of power and greed, and we shouldn't. And I think any Christian can get behind that, right? So that's one theme I see. That's good.
Yeah, I think in my mind, like, I wasn't thinking about the greed portion. I was thinking about hey, we're changing something so that we can produce more out of it. But I wasn't thinking about, yeah, you're right, the greed aspect. And
Yeah, because
literally
the
how it's like
spice
it is the core of power
yeah.
in this universe.
Yeah, exactly. No spice. In fact, the novel ends with him threatening to destroy all the spice.
Ooh, that'll teach him.
Yeah. To the emperor. Not the emperor, but the guild. And the guild's like, whoa, don't do that. We'll do anything you want.
Well, let's not get carried away
Yeah.
there, partner.
So obviously the parallels to oil, right, in the Middle East, is pretty obvious. And again, right, that causes power struggle. You could see that kind of humanistic commentary, ecological commentary that's really interesting. And if I'm not mistaken, Frank Herbert, the author, was an ecologist. I'm pretty sure about that.
That makes sense as far as like world building and stuff goes. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was an ecologist.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was. So there's that theme that's good. Now, when it comes to religion, I think it paints religion in a very explicitly, not explicitly, somewhat explicitly negative way. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, I think they're pointing to like this kind of, like you said, in the shadows, like somebody's manipulating. They're using that.
Yeah.
It's not. They're not treating religion in this sense like true religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're treating it like a tool used to manipulate people.
A superstition to control.
Exactly,
Right?
and
It's
and
again
it's
power.
and it's not even like a tool of opportunity. It's like, no, this has been constructed for thousands of years in an explicit and direct effort to control people who are uneducated.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, clearly
Yeah.
we don't believe that,
Right.
but
So
it's interesting for him to play it like that. Yeah.
absolutely. And as Christians, I think we can get behind that wholeheartedly. But it does get a little murky because, again, the ends don't justify the means, but they're doing that for a good reason. But usually, when stuff like that takes place in our history, it's for a bad reason, right? It's for control. And so in the sense where, like, yes, if religion is a superstition used for control, then we can get behind that wholeheartedly. But the book is so much more complex because it's not just using superstition for control, but it's using a lie for the sake of the betterment of the galaxy. Isn't that interesting? And that betterment is the production of the Kisad Haderach, right? The chosen one, to bring the entire world into a new era. Right? And so there's a sense in which that's good. But here's where I'll put my little theologian cap on, right? It's very Pelagian in the sense where it's like man by his own means can usher in a new world that is devoid of all the misery of this one.
And I think kind of what we're seeing too is that they're doing it from an impure means, right? So the idea is like, okay, well, you know, we can manipulate in this way because the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
But like,
Exactly.
if that's how you have to achieve like your goals, then maybe you need to reevaluate your goals a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I honestly see in Herbert's mind a criticism of a type of religion that seeks to control and to spread superstitions for the sake of some kind of behind the stage goal, right?
Yeah.
And like
A string puller.
And so the problem is this, right? Is like we can get behind that wholeheartedly, and I affirm that.
What do you mean by get behind that?
Like I agree with that.
Okay,
that
okay.
criticism of religion.
Okay,
right?
okay.
But the problem is that all religion in modernity is perceived as nothing else but that, and that's where Herbert just doesn't get it. He doesn't see it.
Yeah.
Is what I would say, and he's a product of his times. So I think this is an aspect of us like taking what's good and realizing what's missing. You see what I'm saying? So we see the pieces here that are true, which is if religion is that, then yeah, I'm on board. That's nonsense. It's kind of what we call integralism. Integralism is the idea that religion is basically a political confession, right? And it spreads against the will of others this new regime. So basically what the book calls a jihad, right? A jihad is a holy war that basically says we're going to make this world a better place and you're going to be part of it. If you don't like that, you're dead. Yeah. So, which is another reason why I think Paul actually ends up being the bad guy, because he takes the opportunity and he becomes the Messiah, right? But it's not a Christian Messiah, right? Because in Pauline theology, in Christian theology, right? True power resides in giving your life out of love, not in establishing a rule out of power and out of, charismatic leadership and out of armies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you see this. I don't want to piss off any listeners, but you see this a little bit in Islam, right? Let's just put it that way. And so Islam is kind of it's integralism, right? But Christianity is not. And Christianity, what it has in mind is this idea that the world itself is already religious, and that if you lay your life down in love, then that will create a power that transcends anything that we can concoct, and create a new world by the power of love.
Exactly.
And that is
Yep.
possible through grace. So we're not a religion of imposition of power and of a kind of distorted messianism, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're a religion of authentic messianism, which resides in, the incarnation, really. A man who lays his life down, and in doing so transforms the world and reunites heaven and earth, right? So it's not just man, but it's God who intervenes. So it's actually a good criticism of Islam, of Pelagianism, and a lot of this kind of like power politics using religion as superstition. And again, we can get behind that, So I think that's cool.
Because we're both opposed to
To all of that. Yeah. And the only problem is what's not said, which is that's not Christianity.
Exactly.
And like people can come and say, "Oh, what do you mean? Like, look at this moment in history. Look at this moment." Like, yeah,
you can always do that.
yeah. Well, talk to me about it, and I'll show you. Like, in fact, like the wars of religion took place right after the Protestant Reformation, when it became confessional.
Yeah, it's their fault. Yeah.
I mean, okay. There's a lot of nuance there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't want to, anger the Protestant listeners either. I do like to, tread carefully. I'm not being a coward, because I think there's something here for everyone. And I know that certain positions are very complex, and that if you don't do them justice, you can end up being uncharitable in a very real sense. Does that make sense?
No, totally agree. Yeah.
So I'm not being a coward here, because, I mean, I believe that Protestant Reformation was...
Well, we have these conversations all the time.
We do all the time. Yeah, the Protestant
exactly.
Reformation for me was a disaster, even though there was some good stuff there, right? And anyway, so the secularization, right, the confessionalization of religion, right, is what creates jihads. And that's the point. Christianity before that was not that, right? It wasn't a confession. It was a virtue. It was a political structure based on grace and charity. And that's what the modern world cannot accept, because if it does, the whole Enlightenment project becomes a fraud.
And so does every criticism of religion as a whole.
As a whole, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We have to maintain this secular, religious, state, church split, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you see the church and the state and the secular, religious as categories that exist, then when you bring them together, you get jihad, you get, wars of religion, and you can't think outside the box. But the moment you realize that those are conceptions of the modern way of thinking, and if you drop them, then you get a society that is virtuous and good and religious, in the sense where it's ontologically religious, because we are all religious beings.
Mm-hmm.
And then war of religion is an oxymoron, right? So anyway, but I know that people are going to bring up the Crusades, but I'm going down rabbit holes here, right? But so this is what this book and this movie does, is it makes you think about these things, right? And we can tell, right? We live in this post-Christian world. There's things that we can get behind. There's good things, but there's also things that are not being said in modern ways of thinking, because the man is a product of his time, of course. I mean, I'm not, Tolkien was way better. That being said, the movie was faithful. It was not the book, which, of course, it's not the book, and it ought not to be the book. It's a movie, right? But it was faithful to the spirit. It was masterful. The cinematography was out of this world.
Oh, yeah. And it had Zendaya, so.
The soundtrack was, granted, exotic and a little quirky, but I thought it fits perfectly with the
I thought
theme.
it was great. I thought it had very, ancient and, religious tones, when it was necessary. And then also, I don't know. Great job. I thought he did a great job, yeah.
I thought so, too, yeah. At the end, we'll try to criticize something. Honestly, this is going to be hard. I thought this
Criticize?
movie, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. I don't like where the movie ended.
Okay, well, wait. I want to hear why. Just a second.
Yeah.
So Hans Zimmer's score, phenomenal. Cinematography out of this world. The sets were gigantic and breathtaking, right? The acting was deeply faithful to the characters in the book. Some people say there's not enough character development. They probably have not read the book, right? The book is a cold story. The book is cold. I found it cold, which is good. I thought it added to the character.
I feel like
of
Jessica
the
had
world.
way more character in the book. Like there was more. She was way deeper.
Yeah,
and she seemed a lot stronger in the book. In my mind, she seemed more of a force. We discussed this a little bit, and I'm not sure that I agree with you totally because I know you're. I don't know. Maybe I'll just watch the movie again.
So that's the thing. I see where you're coming from, but I think really it's because I think it's the initial impression. If you pay attention to the details, I mean, and this might have been a result of the editing, really, because there's a lot that was edited out. Right, it had to be. The movie was 2.5 hours long, right?
Dude, I could have sat another 2.5 hours.
That's what everyone is saying. Everyone's saying like, I could have stayed there.
That's what I'm like. The movie was just like. It seemed like they just kind of rushed the very end of it. It was like there's a lot of important stuff that happens right there at the end, especially to set the grounds for the next movie, and like they just didn't do it.
I see what you're saying, but I think it's like honestly, Dune has been seen by almost everyone as the unmakeable movie.
Well, I mean, you're right. They tried it that one. They tried it.
They tried it twice. So they tried it.
Really? There's another one.
They tried it in the 80s, right? And it did really bad.
Yep.
The David Lynch version, right? They tried it. They put stuff together to make one, right? And there's a whole documentary on this, on all the set designs, the costumes, the production, the plans, the storyboards. And by the end, when they were like
they just gave up.
They were preparing all this, and they were like, "This is impossible."
Oh, seriously?
And they gave up. And it was going to be too expensive, and there's a whole documentary on it.
Well, this one's fantastic. I mean, the world that they built.
And there's a third rendition.
Just so fantastic. Oh, go ahead. I apologize.
No, you're fine. You're fine. But I'm just saying the third rendition was not the first book. It was some of the subsequent books, and it was a TV show in 2003.
I feel like this would have made a good TV show too, or like not
People
a TV
have said
show,
that too.
Yeah, but you can't watch that in IMAX.
I don't think so. Right, it has to be a movie. So I think that Villeneuve's decision to make it into a 2-part thing, was the best idea out there.
That was a really good call.
So sure, there's a little bit of a rush, but like. Honestly, like I don't care. Kudos to you. Like you did it. You did a great job.
Yeah,
I get it. Like I think so. So not you, but I remember like someone else was talking about the movie, and there was like several aspects of it that I didn't like, and I was like, I think that us critics sometimes need to realize like, you'd be a really lousy director.
The man in the arena. Yeah, exactly.
And I get it. We're meant.
I'm like the overweight guy on my lazy boy watching football. Like, yo, that guy can't catch.
Yeah. And I get it, like that's kind of our job, right? As the audience is to say, "Oh yeah, we like that," or "No, we don't."
He made that movie for me.
Yeah, yeah. But the reason why I think it's so phenomenal is because the director actually made it for himself. He said it. See, he made it for the boy who read Dune at 13 years old.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
And you can tell.
Yeah. My only last thing, as far as critiques, Zendaya didn't have enough screen time. So
Part 2, she'll be in there, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Zendaya.
Yeah. So wait.
Does she have a last name?
No. Wait. The actress?
She can have mine.
I think she does, but no one uses it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Madonna.
Chani. Yeah, Chani Kynes. That's her name in the story, right? Because she's the daughter of Liet Kynes. So there's a strong feminine force behind this whole thing. I think it's, honestly, like Frank Herbert, I think he said that the Bene Gesserit represented the Catholic nuns that raised him in school.
That's why they're terrifying.
Yeah.
And if you move, they kill you. You were supposed to be a girl. Smack.
But like the voice might be a callback to like when he's getting yelled at by the nuns. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just speculating it. But there's so much about this. Maybe we'll do a part 2. I don't know. We'll watch it again and talk about it again. But I don't know. I feel like I'm the only one talking here, but I'm just so excited.
No.
I love this movie.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. And again, it's no Lord of the Rings book wise. Cinematically, I don't.
Better. It's not even a question. better.
What, bro, you haven't even seen the Lord of the Rings.
Yo, I
Shut
saw
up.
most of the
Yeah,
first
you
one.
fell asleep. Yeah, okay, so
Yo.
you do not have the right to say
You know what
that.
movie I didn't fall
If
asleep?
anyone in this room has the right to say that, it would be me, and I'm not sure, but
You know what movie I didn't fall asleep during? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Which one?
Bro.
Dude. You were in IMAX. You can't fall asleep in IMAX.
I've fallen asleep during the movies. Maybe not IMAX, but that was an
Yeah.
expensive nap regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like $21. It's crazy. $20. It depends. But yeah, so yeah, cinematically, like it's quite an experience. And if you haven't seen it yet, go see it in movie theaters. Do not see it on HBO Max. Please don't. And definitely don't illegally download it. That's just morally wrong.
Yeah, the only cool pirates are space pirates.
So yeah, anything you want to add, Sam, to this review?
That's all I got. This is a review? Is this what it is?
I guess so. No, it's part of our Banter on Culture series.
Yeah. It's good.
Remember we did one called Obi-Wan, Freud, and wait.
Covered a lot of ground there.
No. It was actually a really good one. It was
It
called,
was a really good one.
It was called, I can't remember, something like Obi-Wan.
It was good. Go check it out.
Yep. Okay. All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Go see Dune. Support the movie. It's great. It's phenomenal. Thank you for tuning in. Leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this stuff.
And if not, don't leave a review.
That's right. Also, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/The Logos Project. You can donate there. There's 3 tiers. You can give us $5, $10, $20, or whatever you want. And I will thank you. I will send you a personal message. And we are working on making more amazing content for you. We're working on some classes that we're going to have on my website. And a lot of stuff coming your way. And so we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Felicia.